Hello to all my lovely friends. Today I am going to read the new story that is the Acharya's Revenge. This is the story from Mahabharata. Okay? Now if you didn't subscribe my channel then subscribe it, like this story, comment it. Now let's read the story. Drupada, the prince of Panchal, was sent to sage Bharadwaj Gurukul to study. There he made the sage's son Drona an outstanding archer, and the two soon became inseparable, despite the difference in their family backgrounds. They studied together, ate their meals together, played sports together, and spent as much time together as they could. Years went by, and it was time for the two friends to go their separate ways. My friend, said Drupada, it is my destiny to eventually become a king of Panchala. So even though we are parting now, please know that whenever you are in need, you can come to me and I will share half my kingdom with you. It is a promise. Drona nodded, sad at the thought of leaving the Gurukul and Drupada. Though Drona was intelligent, he was extremely poor. He tried to make some money by becoming a teacher and imparting his skill to others, but he wasn't very successful. In time, he married Kripi, the sister of the Rishi Kripacharya, and they had a son named Ashwathama, but his situation remained the same. One day, young Ashwathama craved for some milk, but there was none at home. His helpless mother mixed a little bit of rice flour with water and gave it to her son. Ashwathama took a sip and said, Mother, this tastes strange. But Kripi consoled him and convinced him to drink the concoction. Drona, who was observing this, couldn't take it any more. He became frustrated and angry at himself. What kind of a father am I? I can't even afford a bowl of milk for my child. It was then that he remembered Drupada's words. He decided to go and ask his friend for a cow so his child could drink milk every day. And thus Drona journeyed to Ahichatra, the capital of Panchala. When he was questioned at the royal gates, he told the guard to tell the king that it was his friend Drona who had came to meet him. Drupada was now a changed man and more aware of the ways of the world. He asked the guard to bring Drona to him, while nervously thinking, Drona must have recalled the promise I made to him when I was young. I am king now. What if he asked me for half the kingdom? Minutes later, Drona entered the room. He was tired and hungry, and his clothes were filthy. He expected his old friend to embrace him and offer him some solace, but Drupada made no move and remained seated on his throne. Before Drona could say anything, Drupada said, "Oh friend, I made you a promise years ago when I was immature and didn't know any better. I hope you know my now that a friendship can exist only between two people of similar standings. Today, I am a king and you are but a poor commoner. Please don't ask me for something which does not befit your stature." Drona was humiliated. Drupada has not even asked me what I came here for. All I wanted was one cow for my little son, not his kingdom. With these words, Drupada has insulted not just my honest intentions but also our friendship. He thought with fury. With barely contained anger, Drona responded, King Drupada, I only came here to ask for a cow. But what you say is right. There really is no match between you and me. My knowledge is far superior to yours. And since our old friendship no longer exists, I don't even need what I came here for. I will befriend you again once I have obtained half of your kingdom. Until then, I bid you goodbye. Drona turned around and walked away. When he was going back home, he encountered a few boys playing with a ball. Just as he was passing them by, the ball fell into a well, and the boys gathered around it, wondering how to get the ball back. Drona asked him with a disdain, From your appearance, all of you seem to be from a royal family. Young princess, perhaps. Don't you know how to get the ball out? Hasn't your teacher taught you anything about archery? The young boys fell silent. Drona then used his knowledge and expertise to bring the ball out and handed it to the boys. One of the little boys was amazed at the power of archery and was inspired to learn more about it. Together, the boys ran back to the palace and narrated the entire story to their grandfather, who was none other than Bhishma. And the little boy was Arjuna, of course. Bhishma realized that this stranger was indeed a special man and immediately went to meet him. He found Drona residing outside the city in an ashram and begged him to tutor his grandchildren, the Pandavas and the Kauravas. And that's how Drona became their guru. Days passed, and Drona's son Ashwathama also joined as a student and studied along with the Pandavas and the Kauravas. When the boys grew up, their education with Drona came to an end. Bhishma gave Drona enough wealth to last a lifetime. But the teacher wanted something else. He said to his student, I want a different Guru Dakshina from you. I want you to march to Panchala and defeat the king Drupada. Then tie him to a chariot and bring him to my ashram. That will take care of my fee for teaching all of you. None of his students questioned the task or the reason behind the request. The Kauravas said, That's easy enough, Guruji. Allow us to go on our own and fulfill your desire. We don't want to mix our Guru Dakshina with that of the Pandavas and share the glory. Drona smiled and agreed. The Kauravas went to battle with their entire army, but the Drupada was no ordinary man. He managed to defeat the Kauravas. When Drona heard the news, he turned to the Pandavas with faith in his eyes and said, You are my last resort now. I hope you will accomplish this task. Guruji, I will accomplish the mission at any cost. Your smallest desire is my command, said Arjuna with confidence. In the next battle, Drupada could not stand strong against the 5 Pandavas. Arjuna finally caught him, tied him to a chariot, and brought him back to his teacher. Thank you, my worthy students. Your duty is over. You may go now. Drona thanked Arjuna and watched his students leave. When they were gone, Drona untied Drupada's knots and offered him a seat. Drupada, my old friend, please sit, he said. The sullen Drupada did not pay heed. I know you may not feel like sitting at my request after losing your kingdom to my students, but I still respect your despite the current inequality in our positions. I will not behave the way you did with me. So I will divide the Panchala kingdom into the two halves. You may take back one half and your capital. Ahichatra said, Ahichatra, and I will keep the other half and announce Kampalia as my capital. You may now go back as a king in my chariot. Since Drupada was no position to negotiate, he went back to his share of the kingdom in silence. He was furious at the way he had been treated, tied like an animal, presented like a gift, and given his own kingdom back like it was a favor. Drona could do this to me only because he had the great warrior Arjuna's support, while I have none. He reasoned. Drupada was not angry with Arjuna. On the contrary, he appreciated his valor and loyalty. I wish I had a daughter who could be married to him, he thought to himself. Then his mind turned to Drona again. I desire a son who will be responsible for Drona's death. With a carefully directed passion, Drupada began a penance and performed a yagna to obtain such a daughter and son. As the ritual went on, Yagna Purush emerged and he asked Drupada, "What is your wish?" "Give me two children who are already young adults. I will be like a parent to them, but I need them immediately." A strong, handsome warrior armed with weapons stepped out of the fire. Drupada named him Drishtadyumna. Then a dark and beautiful girl arose from the fire, and Drupada named her Draupadi. After himself, Drupada embraced both the children with affection. As fated, Draupadi married Arjuna later, and Drishtadyumna killed Drona on the 15th day of the Mahabharata war. Thus, a tender teenage friendship that began in a peaceful ashram ended in a tragedy only because of the arrogance that comes with privilege. Now, this is the end of the story. Do you like it? Then comment it. Subscribe my channel. We will meet again